WWE now, and you watched the main event of Saturday night's main event. We'll talk about that in a minute, but first off, Jesse Ventura has returned to commentary. He commentated the main event of Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship. What did you make of the return of the commentary of Jesse? This is 34... Okay, he did it once on a Raw in like 2010 or something like that, like a one-off, but as full-time, he hasn't commentated for the WWF or WWE since 1990.
Mm-hmm. Well, now he didn't do the whole show, right? He just did that Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes match, correct?
Yeah.
From what I heard, I thought he sounded great. He sounded like the Jesse of old. You know, your voice doesn't change. Everything else, if you notice, when people get older, the one thing that really doesn't change about them, unless they really get, frail and really ill, is their voice doesn't change. And you would recognize Ventura's voice 2,000 miles away. But I thought he did a tremendous job. Like he never was away. It was 34 years between his last commentating spot and this one. You say 34 years?
Yeah, I think the last time he was commentating was with Tony Schiavone when he was briefly with the WWF in like 89, 90.
Yeah, but I think Jesse sounded great, and I don't think he could have been any better. And what I noticed here is, you had Pat McAfee out there, you had Michael Cole, Cole out there, and you had Jesse. But none of them were stepping on each other. That's what you see sometimes with these commentators. One was talking, the other saying something and something. And I thought the match, we're going to talk about the match next.
In a second, yeah.
Okay, but I thought Jesse sounded very, very good.
There was a video out that WWE published, and it was introducing Jesse with the old leather jacket with the leopard print and feather boas and the whole bit. And he comes, it's like a 2-minute 30 video, and then they introduce him at a podium, not at the commentary desk, but at the podium. And there's some other dude in a tux with a red bow tie introducing Jesse, and that guy talked for nearly 2 minutes of the 2-minute 30 video. And it's like, no one wants to hear you, buddy. We want to hear Jesse Ventura. Man,
Right.
He was trying to get himself over that nameless guy.
Who was this guy?
Just some announcer that they just brought out and just wouldn't shut up.
Well, anyway, the Saturday night main event with Jesse on it, excellent, excellent show.
Yeah, he's going to be coming back and doing further Saturday night's main events. We're assuming there still are, because the actual viewership of Saturday night's main event was terrible, or not very good. I mean, it was the same as like Raw and SmackDown would do. Something like 1.5 million. Then there was like a simulcast as well involved.
I thought it would do more than that.
Yeah, I thought it would be in the twos.
I thought it would do at least over 2.
Yeah. Disappointing, but there's always more to come.
But I think give them time. Going to Netflix, I think, will help them. And I think the WWE at this point is in a growth stage. They're going to get bigger, and I don't think their product can get much better. I really don't. And I hope it does. I hope it, back in the Attitude Era days, between WWF, I think, and WCW, they were doing 8 and 9 million viewers between them. Of course, the big talk was, well, how many are going back and forth? Well, probably a lot of them, but still, they didn't care as long as they were getting their numbers. They don't care what the other one got, as long as they got 4 million people to watch a show. Advertisers, they were loving that. So, I mean, whether they went back and forth or not, both shows were clicking. Both shows were. I mean, they were like, you put them in a cannon, blast them off, and fans were loving it. And it was a good product back in those days.
Yeah, I always find it funny that with Raw and Nitro doing how well they were doing, on cable, and the channels were paying them 1/100th of what they pay them now for 5 times the amount of viewers that they get now. You know, it's crazy how sort of TV changes. Just before we get off Ventura, he said some other stuff about Triple H and Nick Khan and collaborative efforts backstage in WWE. A few thoughts on the new regime at WWE, said Jesse. The biggest thing I noticed was how different the energy and vibe is backstage. You don't feel a battle of egos like you often did back in the day. From the executive level to the locker room level, you instead feel a very strong sense of teamwork and creativity. Everyone is running in the same direction, fueled by a desire to see everyone succeed, not just themselves. I think this speaks volumes about the leadership of Paul Triple H Levesque.
Sure does.
Does that ring true for when you were in the WWE in the 2010s, or did you feel there was a battle of egos and that kind of thing?
Oh, my God. Hey, going backstage was like a war zone sometimes.
Even in the 2010s?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you had a lot of jealousy about, and I think that's the way Vince wanted it. Vince thought if somebody else, well, I can't really speak for his mindset back in those days, but if he pushed one guy in, say, in a main event slot, or looked like he was going to main event slot, you know, it was you could feel the vibe backstage. It was it was competitive. It was like, you know, you could feel it. But now, and I think one reason is that everybody is making very, very good money in WWE now, even their first match guys.
$350 minimum on the main roster.
Well, if you had $350,000 and they're doing like 75% less or more traveling, I mean, we used to spend some time in WWE, WWF when I was there, we were 7 days a week. You go to Raw, then the next night you would go to SmackDown, and and then Wednesday, and then Thursday, and Friday, and Sunday, and then back work your way around to where the next Raw was, and then you'd start it over again. The longest time I was away from home that I didn't even see the inside of my garage, I was away 64 straight days before I went home. Finally, I said, guys, listen, I got to go home. I said, I haven't seen my house in 2 months. Really? And they knew what they were doing. Everybody was working 7 days. Some days were double shots.
I should say this is WCW, wasn't it? I remember you saying this before.
It was WCW. But WWF was the same deal. They were running as many shows as they could do. But WCW, it was 64 straight days. And it wasn't fun. You spent more time on the road than you spent anywhere else.